Hey, everybody. Fascinating chat today. We talk about a smart dog collar that has GPS, AI coaching, health tracking, virtual fencing, and more. What a world. Who could imagine that? David, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Evan?
Good. Good to have you here. You're in Shenzhen at the moment, but that's a whole nother discussion I'd love to dive into. Before that, maybe introduce yourself and the big idea behind pioneering the smartest dog collar on the planet.
Great. So my name's David Teaster. I'm the product marketing director at SATELLAI, which it's a pleasure to work here. And the whole reason I joined here is because I thought we could make a big difference in the lives of not just pets, but also pet parents. So the big idea behind engineering the smartest dog collar on the planet, at least as smart as we can make it, is that we want to create a device that can help pets stay safe, for their parents to keep in touch with them and to stay connected, and really help pets stay on the radar and help pet parents understand their closest companions. If I had to say it simply, like, that's really what we're looking at. And so we're looking at applying advanced technology in order to narrow the gap between humans and animals.
Well, it's an incredible mission. We all love our pets, of course, here in the U.S. and around the world, I think. So, talk about how long it took to bring this idea, this product to fruition, and what was involved. There's so many technologies here. I'm a geek and a techie, but talk about this. Must have been quite a journey, quite a process.
Yeah, I mean, by the time I joined, let's see, I joined in December of 2024, and by then I think they'd already been working on everything for about a year. And the two founders both met when they were working at a brand called Huami, which is doing like smart wearables. So, it's similar technology to a Fitbit, where it's tracking like your
Mhm.
heart rate and your breathing, and then your location, so you can see where you've walked or where you've run and all those things. And I think, everybody here loves pets and has been a pet owner. And I think we've all gone through our own experiences with pets, which has really helped us to form our own ideas on what we want to be able to do. And fundamentally, from talking to the founders, I know a big part of it was they wanted to take a lot of that same technology that's applicable to human smart wearables and start finding ways to apply it to the animals that we love, so that we can keep track of like how healthy they are, how active they are, to help them keep track of locations, and just keep pets safe and protected and keep their owners informed.
That's amazing. I mean, smart dog collars and tracking of dogs now with air tags and other technologies has been around, but you're trying to take this to a whole new level, and you're in market, right? I mean, you're this isn't a Kickstarter. You're maybe tell us how you go beyond traditional GPS trackers that we've had for years.
Yeah. So, I mean, we started with the satellite collar, which is our first product, and we took that to market in April of this year. I believe we went live on April 10th, which is available through our own website already at satellai.com. If any of your listeners are interested in picking it up there or finding out more, that would be SATELLAI.com. And just let me do the plug there so that if anyone's interested, they could start looking. And yeah, so to make it to the next level, like, really, it's about creating a device that can help you stay connected to your pet. So to do that, we've actually incorporated dual signal, dual antennas into our collar to help make the tracking more precise. So this should help with, especially, are you familiar with like satellite or transmission technology at all?
Yeah, we're geeks here, so
Well, I had a
yes.
feeling you would be. Then you probably know more than me. But from what all the smart guys tell me, basically they transmit on the L1 and the L5 frequencies.
Mm.
And because those are different frequency patterns, then the way that they're able to interact with obstacles, or the way they bounce off of things that would otherwise be an impediment, helps them to detect, to kind of position between the two, to calculate between it, to give a more accurate position of your dog.
Amazing. And you talk about
So
something called virtual fencing.
Mhm.
and real-time alerts. I mean, geofencing has also been around for a while. Some people love it,
Absolutely.
some hate it. But how does your virtual fencing work as well?
Yeah, so the virtual fencing, so we've incorporated Mapbox maps to help make the virtual map on your phone as true to life as we can. And then you can set up the virtual fences yourself where you create that into an area on your phone. And for our default, you can either set up a simple fence, which would just be a circle, and then you can size it as big or as small as you want. You could do that in just a few seconds. Or you could set up a complex fence, which would start out as a square, and then you can start adding posts to it to adjust the shape. And you can size that realistically from anywhere from half an acre to 100,000 acres. And then fundamentally, the way that that works is it coordinates with the collar to provide feedback to your dog. So fundamental to the fencing is training your dog. So just like you train your dog to have recall commands, when you say sit, then your dog sits. When you say come back, your dog comes back. In the same way, you'd use the feedback from the collar to trigger your dog's recall to help them know when they're getting to the edge of the fence that they need to go back the way that they came or respond to your commands that you've conditioned them to. And we have multiple feedback settings so people can customize the way that they want to, whatever suits them and whatever helps them to train their dogs. And our feedback options include we've got a whistle. We also have vibration settings. And then optionally, we also have a static correction, which is based off of like TINS technology. So it stimulates the muscle. And that one's really designed for more of like, imagine you have a dog with a high prey drive that, a whistle or a vibration isn't going to distract them from the thing that they've zeroed in on. So it's just to add an option for people that if they feel they need some kind of stronger stimulus to their dog, to help get their attention so that they recall and know to respect the boundaries. And you can set that to any size you want. There's no limit on the number of fences you can set up either. So if you wanted to set up a fence, say like in my case, I would have a fence at my own house, or if I went up to visit my parents, then I might set another virtual fence there too, so that my dogs can know where it's safe to roam, because it's the same feedback that I would have trained my dog on, regardless of where we are. So regardless of where they are, they get that feedback. They know, okay, I need to turn back around and go back. And I think what's nice about virtual fences is they're more customizable, they're easily deployed, and they're location based. So your dog, one of the things we say is like your dog can't squeeze through it, jump over it, or dig under it. And I think what also makes it even better is you can actually pair that with, if you have a traditional fence in your yard, then you can also pair that up to where you've got the double layer of insurance, where you've got the one fence that's physical that your dog's used to, but then a backup fence that is based on your dog's training. So you've got that double incentive. And then two, you'll get a notification if your dog gets loose outside of that boundary or too far from the boundary. Then you'll get that notification so you know you need to go find your dog, and then the tracking should enable you to locate your dog quickly.
Sorry, I was just on mute there for a sec. You don't
Oh, I
stop
was.
there. You go on with something called a conversational AI coach
Mhm.
that allows exactly what? Because this is fascinating. AI coaching in your pet collar. What does it mean? What do you expect for that?
Yeah, so it's still early stages for that. So right now it's still more bare bones than we would like, but fundamentally it's built off. Well, it's more bare bones than what we're building towards. But right now, fundamentally, we have our own breed-based characteristic database. So you can ask questions about it, and it can give you general advice. So you imagine if you talk to, ChatGPT or Claude or something, it'd be a similar experience, except this has
Hmm.
a specific breed-based database that would
Okay,
tell you characteristics based on your dog's breed. So if you have a golden retriever and you could say, oh, my dog's been limping, what might be causes of that? My dog's a golden retriever, then it should be able to tell you, like, okay, some things you might consider would be like hip dysplasia, because that's common in dogs, and then you'd be able to tell the information. And it can give you some general guidance or advice. You could also
got it.
use that to ask for maybe like training guidance. So, like, what's a good way to train a golden retriever to do X, Y, or Z? Then it can use those breed-based characteristics to start making recommendations. And what we're building towards in the future is once we have a big enough database, that we'll be able to actually have the AI learn specific characteristics of the pet once it establishes a baseline, to be able to say when your pet's behavior has been changing, or what, give you advice that's more specific to the individual dog.
Very cool. And you also talk about digital health for your pet, a Fitbit of sorts. How does that work, and what do you offer there?
Yeah, so initially we're working with, it combines with the location tracking, so you know where your
Mm,
dog has gone. And then right now we have activity and rest analysis, which works with gyroscopes that are in the collar to help
mm,
tell like when your dog's moving and when it's in position or not. And then we're building that out in the future iterations for our future products, which we're planning to launch maybe Q4 this year. Then we'll be able to actually have detailed breakdowns of activities by type. So right now it's just like rest and activity tracking, but we're building
right.
that out in the future iterations to where it'll tell you how much your dog is walking, how much your dog is running, how much your dog is jumping, how much your dog is just laying down, and then ideally we'll be able to get to how much your dog is actually sleeping.
Amazing. Tell us about the market opportunity for this. I mean, stolen pets are a huge issue here in the U.S. People spend what $100 billion on pet care or something. It's amazing. But what do you see the market opportunity as?
What I see the market opportunity, well, first, I think already with the GPS tracking and with the virtual fencing, I think that's already in huge demand. And that's
Mm,
something that I think more and more people are going to become aware of. Even for, I mean, it's been out there for a while, but I think there's still a lot of people that aren't even really aware that this is an option yet. So there's
mm,
still a lot of room, in my opinion, for this market to grow. And I think people put a lot of emphasis on the safety of their dogs. I mean, even for me, I had a lot of different dogs growing up. And, I
mhm.
had several dogs as a teenager that would just run off and then they'd go explore the neighborhood for a while and then they'd come back. And so I wouldn't be overly worried, except eventually, you never know when your dog's going to just have that one day where they do
Mm.
something different than normal, because dogs are dogs. And I might have a dog for 6 7 years, and then he if I open the door too wide, he likes to run out, and then he'd always come back until that one day he doesn't. And
Yeah,
I
no,
think that's have you had that experience
we,
too?
we've all had those stories. Some quite scary. Um, And I assume this is a global market for you, not just the
Mhm.
US, but how do you see this rolling out geographically? Are there certain parts of the world that are more dog obsessed than others?
I'd say the US is definitely a big one, especially for this GPS type tracking technology. Because, we have a lot of rural areas and people can have a wide range of land that they
Mm,
like to keep their dogs on. Like, even if you go to a suburban neighborhood, the yards can be pretty big. You
yeah, no.
don't want your dog getting into the neighbor's yard or running down the street or whatever. Um,
And
I'm
how are
trying to
you?
think,
How do
like,
you?
even my own experience, like, sometimes if my dog did.
Yeah, how do you see the business
Sorry,
model
go ahead.
working? What is your go to market in terms of the product? I mean, there's a telecom element to this as well, I
Mhm.
imagine. But
Absolutely.
you have channels like veterinarians and retail, insurers. I imagine you have wellness subscriptions. How do you see yourself in this whole landscape of pet care?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you named quite a few there. One, we are expanding into more retailers. We started with our own website, which I mentioned earlier on in
Hmm.
the video. We're already available on Amazon as well. I think we've recently managed to get coverage on Walmart.com.
Hmm.
So I believe we've got a shop there now, and we're trying to expand into more of the pet retail e-retailers as well. I think right now we're looking at getting on Chewy in the next couple of weeks to a month out. Hopefully, we'll be able to get listed on there as well to make availability wider. And then, like you said, in the future, we'd like to be able to partner with veterinarians,
Hmm.
because we think like the health tracking can be a really huge asset for people, that it can help like when to take your dog to the vet
Hmm.
before a small problem becomes a big problem.
Yeah, no, that's a great
Yeah.
concept, and you must have a huge amount of opportunity for new features and functions. Tell us about your roadmap, other sensors or other kinds of networks or biometrics. What are you looking at over the next year or two?
Over the next year or two, it we've got high aspirations, but it can kind of change depending on what actually presents itself as being practical. We are partnering with Fetch Pet Insurance.
Hmm.
We had a press release about that pretty recently. And then hopefully we'd like to see about getting our products to where they can also become preventative care in that regard, and where we can work with insurance as well. On top of that, we're looking to expand into more types of products. So we've got the collar, but we're looking to create, I think next in the pipeline, we've got the satellite tracker, which
Hmm.
is actually, we presented it at CES. So if you read any of our press releases, you might have seen references to that previously. Not that I would have expected you to necessarily, but you may have. And the satellite tracker, we've actually incorporated a Qualcomm 9205S modem, so it would have direct satellite uplink.
Wow.
It's also got a 7-day battery life, and then it's a solar panel would be part of that. And so that's really designed for those super rural areas where there's just no like wireless signal at all from your cellular network. The caveat of that is like the tracker wouldn't need a cellular signal, but your phone still would. So your dog could get somewhere without a cellular signal, and if you're somewhere with a cellular signal, you can see where your dog is. Which I obviously it's not perfectly ideal because you'd like to have something that can transmit both to and fro without any mobile signal whatsoever. But I'm not quite sure when we'll be able to find a way to make that happen. But it's still better because I had a dog that ran off. I was visiting my parents back in college, and I remember like they were living up in the Ozark Mountains,
Hmm.
and he took off. I didn't even know which way he went. Like I don't even have a
Right.
direction to start looking for him. I can't even ask the neighbors because the closest neighbor is 100 yards down the road.
Hmm.
And so it's like I'm just standing there in the yard, just kind of like looking in all directions and shouting for him to come back. So I think even for that, even though it's not the ideal scenario, it's still helpful because at least you have a direction to move towards when you've got that cell signal. Plus the 7-day battery life, and then we've got a solar panel installed. So even if your dog's gone for a really long time, the tracker's built into a harness, then it'll be able to transmit via satellite regardless of where your dog is. And you'll be able to see that at any time, and potentially like no matter how long your dog is gone, that solar panel could let it recharge at any moment, and you'd be able to get another ping on the system. We're also
Amazing.
working on a lot. We're also working
Amazing.
on a lighter weight tracker, which right now we've got in the works, which will be kind of smaller, but it would be like clipped onto a dog's normal collar. And then that'll have a lot of like the similar functions we plan to where you'll be able to see where your dog is and get notifications. It probably won't be quite as robust as the current collar because that's quite large and then has a lot more technology incorporated into it. But we're looking to get something that's a little more accessible for the normal user once we have that second tracker available.
Incredible. And so many interesting use cases for working dogs too, I imagine. Herding dogs and farm dogs, police, military, even. What a great opportunity here. So yeah, congratulations. Really amazing work you've done and integrating all these technologies and bringing it to market. And yes, I'll be at CES this coming, next year, January. So look forward to stopping by and checking out all the new features.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a few more products to show you then, because right now the collar is the only one on the market. But I talked to the team too, and in the future we'd really like to expand into other products to where we can actually create kind of this whole smart home dog pet ecosystem to where
Mm,
you can track even more of your dog's metrics. Ideally we'll get to a point where we can see like how much your dog is eating, how much water they're drinking. We'd like to expand the cat. I mean, this would be like really long-term plan. So if it materializes or not could still be kind of up in the air. But I know like that's something that the team's very passionate about and that we'd like to work towards is like getting a whole system set up to where you've got everything connected and you can monitor so many more detailed aspects of your pet's health and activity and just really connect with them and understand with them better understand them better than ever.
Love it. Well, amazing work. Thanks for sharing the vision, and I can't wait to check it out. Thanks everyone for listening and watching, and reach out to David and team if you're interested. Take care. Thanks, David. Thanks everyone.
Oh, thanks so much, Evan.
Bye bye.